after God commanded for the light, he said that the light was good. And that was the end of the first day. And then after that, he proceeds on through the different days of the week. And he says, talking about the water and the earth and all of that. And he says, light must have been a very important thing because it was the very first thing he called for. And then later on, he tells how he went on through the other days and created things. Man was finally created on the sixth day. And he was the first creature that was capable of communicating with God person to person. But God spoke about the other things he made in order to complete the earth. And on which day it was complete, it was actually happened. He says mankind was created in his own image. That's in verse 27 of chapter 1. And the story continues to tell us about Eden. Adam was told to tend it, and how Adam was given Eve, and how Satan caused them to sin. So let's stop here and consider what light had to do with all this. Well, without life, there couldn't have been any life. There would have been no plants, no animals, no garden for Adam and Eve to tend. And the first light overcame the dark. The second, it marked the day and night. Third, it caused the seasons and the weather. Fourth, it is needed for plant and animal life. Fifth, kept the Garden of Eden. And sixth, Adam and Eve needed to see. To us today, that seems something that most of us take for granted. But we can't see without light. The first thing God spoke into being and made. And it just so happened the light, or the use of it, was what the devil used against Eve to cause her to sin. He told her to look at the fruit. And when she looked at it, she wanted it. Because if she hadn't, caught her attention and really started to concentrate on it, she probably never would have seen it in the first place. So all it takes is for us to see something and set our minds on it, whether it's good for us or not, we're going to want it. And after seeing and after checking to see if she was about to be in fruit, and you get to think about how her life would change if she ate it. Her eyes were open, and she would know what God knows, good and evil. She saw that the fruit looked good, so she ate the fruit and got Adam to eat some too. But it didn't work out as well as she thought it would. It was the time mankind sinned. And God had to drive them out of the Garden of Eden, along with punishing the whole earth. Death came into the world. And God put Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, and he posted an angel with a flaming sword to keep them from re-entering into the Garden of Eden. And this was the first time that any light was mentioned that was not the stars or the lights of the heavens. But it wasn't the last time. It was next mentioned when Noah and all that were inspired from the flood came out of the ark. And it was in the form of a rainbow. And then Noah built the first altar to the Lord. And that's in Genesis chapter 8, 20 through 23. And from that time on, fire, the sun, the moon, the stars, lightning, even fire from heaven spoken of throughout the Bible. It tells how God used fire to consume offerings on the altar in the temple, and to the leaders of his people to keep candles burning in the temple. And And the Ark of the Covenant had a glow over it, hovered over it all the time. And he used fire to destroy the cities of the enemies that didn't want the Israelites to take over the promised land. And he caused sulfur and fire to rain down on Sodom and Gomorrah, just to name a few of the things that's mentioned in the Bible. He also showed that he could control fire by allowing his servants Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to survive being thrown into a hot furnace without getting burned or even a hair on their head being singed. And there are so many examples that it would take much more time than I have to tell you about all of them in their related scriptures. Then there's the scriptural life. God's word is life. And that's listed in Psalms 119, 130, Isaiah 2 through 5. And Jesus came to bring light to the world. That is mentioned in many verses, but some of the ones I wrote down was John 1:9, John 8:12, and John 12:46. And when Jesus transfigured, he displayed light. That's in Matthew 7, chapter 2, verse 2. Jesus also commanded his disciples to finish the work that he had started. And he told them to follow him. And when he said follow him, he didn't mean just to go everywhere he went, but to follow the work that he was doing, to keep it going on. And we have that same command. And my little question is, how do we look at life today? And Miss Jasmine's shoes was an example. We were just speaking about her shoes, sparkle and glitter. Everybody loves to see something sparkle and glitter. That's why a lot of people wear, especially women, like a lot of jewelry. You make up your faces, you wear very, pretty attractive clothes, because everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be able to see things, and whatever catches our attention, that's what we look at. It's like we're driving down the road, we can see something sparkling on the side of the road. Instead of watching where we're going and watching that street light, we're going to be looking at what's on the side of the road. But what happens if you miss that light? You're going to see some more lights behind you. And most everything we own nowadays works on electricity, which is another form of light. Can you think of anything in your house, any appliance, that does not work on electricity? Look at all the lights on our cars. We're riding down the road, we have street lights. All of our buildings have light. We have air conditioning, we have heaters. Everything works off of light. Light was the most powerful thing that God mentioned. One of the first things he created and the first thing he mentioned. And I think that's why it was first, because it's so important in everything we use. And the main thing we have to remember is to keep our little spiritual life powered up by diligently studying the Bible and strong fellowship with other believers. Our inner light should not be hidden like a candle under a basket. That would be hard for anyone to see, and it could start a fire. And then you're going to see red lights when the fire department comes to put out your fire. And we need to be glad to let our little light shine, both day and night, for all to see, to encourage them to do the same. And I can't tell you what to do with your light. I can only make a suggestion. But for me, my little light, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Amen. Amen.